4.2 in Kangding. Just finished buying supplies, so gonna head down to the trailhead, camp out for the first night. So we're at 2,600 meters right now, and tonight 4,000 meters. So a bit of a jump, but hope it goes well. So I've just set up my tent for the first night, thinking of making a fire, but all the wood here is really wet, so I might just have to use the stove. Tomorrow I've got, I think, 20 kilometers to go. Feeling pretty good. Cooking the pasta right now. Spent half an hour trying to make a fire, but no luck. I have plain pasta for dinner. It's around 9 o'clock right now. First night camping out. We're at 3,600 meters, so about 1 kilometer higher than what I slept last night, and I'm really starting to feel the altitude. It's been raining non-stop. There was a bit of hail earlier. Hope the weather doesn't get too crazy tomorrow. Trying to make an early start, see how far we can go. It's just after midnight, and it's gotten very, very cold very quickly. Still got a bit of a headache. Hope that goes away. So I woke up like 4 times in the middle of the night. Turns out what I thought was rain was actually snow, which is why it was so bloody cold. But it's really beautiful here, and no longer feeling the headache from the altitude, so good to push on forward. We're about over 1 kilometer till the next campsite. Around 4.2 in elevation right now. It's really hard to breathe. Every step I'm just gasping for air. But keep pushing on. Onwards we go. It's all snow from here. I can only see white on our backs. This morning, see that furthest mountain? We came from behind it. Started at about 10 o'clock because it was raining while we were packing. Finally made it, feels good. Just making a little detour, check out this glacier lake.
So, wanna show me the glaciers?
Yeah. I was actually feeling really good this morning, which is why I went to take the detour to check out the glacier. But then on the climb to 5,000 meters, I was pretty much running on reserves. I was on the verge of collapsing a couple of times and I just couldn't breathe. But Once I got over that, rest of it is downhill. 8 AM the morning after night 3. It was very tiring yesterday. I didn't even have energy to force feed myself dinner, so kind of low on nutrition today. It looks like a gate. We got lost and I'm gonna die. It's 10 PM right now. We've been wandering around in the dark for a very long time. And we are lost. So tonight we'll be camping on the trail. And last 3 hours spent going up and down this mountain trying to find a fork, which we have given up on finding. So it's like 10 something PM now. Time to call it a night. Right. At least we know we're on track. Turns out we had the right path yesterday. There's 2 more kilometers to go. But we lost faith in the path too early because it was too dark and we didn't recognize the landscape. Hey, it's been a while. I'm in Tagong right now, which means I survived that trek. If you're wondering what happened on that last day, we convinced ourselves we were lost. And we started turning back, going back up the mountain, and we were even more lost. All up, it was a pretty miserable ordeal actually, dealing with altitude sickness the entire time. Why was I so stupid not to acclimate? Well, when I got to Kangding, I met this guy at a hostel who was keen to come trek with me. So then I had 2 options. Either I'd go alone or I'd go without acclimating. And since I had no idea what the conditions were, I figured it'd be safer to go with someone else. And then that turned out to be totally wrong, because the trek was actually pretty manageable, but being sick the entire time made it 5 times harder. Is this the end of trekking in China? Someone watching this is probably hoping I say yes, but the answer is no. I've geared up for another 5-day trek, which I'll be setting out on in about 3 or 4 days, so stay tuned. Hey, it's 9:30 on day one of the Yading Big Kora trek. There's a lot of snow on the ground and I don't see any footprints besides animal tracks, so I think I'm the only one out here. So it's quite possible I won't see anyone for another 4 or 5 days. So it's just me and Mother Nature. So the idea of the Big Kora trek is to go around the 3 holy mountains. In Tibetan this is Mount Chenresig. This one is Gorge. And I think behind here somewhere is Mount Lijiang. Not sure if you can see it from here. I think this is the only point on the trek where you can see all 3 peaks at once. We have Chenresig, Lijiang has just come into view in the back, and Gorge on the side here. Just got up to the first pass at 2 p.m. This is 4,900 meters. I feel pretty good. I'm well adjusted to the altitude now. Have no troubles at all compared to when I was doing Gonga and I had this pounding headache when I got up to 5k. Walking through a minefield right now. Every stone is a potential ankle sprain. Already sprained my ankle like 4 times already. That's a big boy. Hope I can get past without too much issue. A lot of huts. Well, I don't think anyone lives here in the colder months. I don't see any firewood outside. Mount Gorge. I'll be sleeping under your care tonight. Please look after me. You would think that at the bottom of the mountain that is covered in ice would be some water. Trying to find a river, but I just found rocks. Freeze-dried beef mince and noodles. Looks pretty good. Looks better than it tastes. I don't know how I'm going to eat another pot of this tomorrow. I got more distance than I thought I would. I think managed around 25k, but it's not just the distance, the elevation change is a big deal too. Going up was pretty hard this morning. Everything was covered in snow, couldn't really see where I was going, and then coming down with such a heavy backpack was really hard on my ankles. Tomorrow has 4 passes, so if it snows tonight it's going to be a real challenge tomorrow morning. So I'm just going to go to sleep, try wake up by sunrise and get moving. wind is so strong up here. It's freezing. It's getting stronger and stronger. That is Yaka Pass. Somehow gonna get over that today. Looks even worse up close. It's gonna be a struggle getting over this. I already feel so fatigued. But camping here is not an option because it looks like a big snow is coming. And if I don't cross today, snow will probably be waist deep tomorrow. Snow is about knee deep. The snow here is getting really deep. Sometimes my whole foot just plunges into the snow. And I don't have gaiters on, so the snow goes into my shoe. And when that melts, my socks are going to get wet. I'm just bouncing between the rocks right now. It's kind of like the game, the floor is lava. Except here the floor is snow. And when you step in the snow, your foot disappears. So let's just stick to the rocks. I'm on all fours, trying to get up this last stretch. Just can't get any footing at all. Just keep slipping. I'm nearly there. The Tibetan prayer flags mark the top of the pass. 5 colors for the 5 elements. Fire, water, wind, earth and wood. Well, never mind. That wasn't even a pass. Still gotta go over this thing. It's so cold up here. Can't feel my fingers, can't feel my toes, can't feel my face. Looks like it keeps going for a long way. Just when I thought I was gonna get off this mountain. Well, I'm at 4,800 meters. Seems like I've made it over the pass. All I've got to do now is to get down. Leave no man behind. I came back for you, buddy. I need to get off this mountain as fast as possible. It's unbearably cold up here, and the wind chill is insane. It's gonna get dark soon, and I've still got a long way to go. Here you can see a shrine. This marks the halfway point of the Big Kora. Couldn't find any water here, so I'm just going to be melting some snow. The thing that caught me off guard the most was Yaka Pass. Not gonna lie, I was getting pretty worried up there. Just thought I'd eventually reach a point where it'd be too dangerous to cross and I would have to turn back. I know yesterday I was complaining about all the stones, but trying to gain meters in snow like that, felt so futile. I think I fell a few kilometers short of my target, so I've got to wake up early tomorrow and make up ground. I know I always say that, and I always start really late, but you know, it's going to happen one day. So hopefully that day's tomorrow. Way too cold last night. Felt like -8. And sleeping bags only rated for 0, so even with all my clothes on and a hot water bottle, I was shivering the whole night. Did I mention how much I hate snow? Nice little lake there. I didn't notice it on the way up. Looks like I'm nearly there, right? Well, there's probably another 5 more ridges after this, so best to keep your head down and keep moving. It's been a bit of a climb, but I don't think I'm even 1/4 of the way through yet. I've got to get down this side, and by the end of the day I need to be on the other side of that mountain range. So I just come across this little thing here. It looks pretty cool. I wonder how it formed. It's like an ice frisbee. So I've just come from that ridge over there, nearly getting to the end of this, so about to wrap around soon, which is good. One thing I do like about the snow is that every step feels, looks and sounds the same, so you can kind of just pick a direction and then zone out. This thing never ends. It's like 4 PM right now, and I'm running out of daylight. Gotta get over this pass now. If I get over this and I see another pass, my brain is actually going to explode. Snow everywhere. Just can't catch a break. This is Rock's Rock, named after the explorer Joseph Rock, who, before he published his expedition notes on this area in National Geographic, this part of China was unknown to the rest of the world. Made it to Wisdom Lake. This will be tonight's camp. Quinoa and beef mince. Now this one actually looks pretty good. This actually tasted pretty good, but I made too much because I was just eyeballing the measurements, so this will be carried out as trash. So it was mentally very tiring, especially having started out behind schedule and then having to climb up through all of that snow to get over all of those passes. Each one was such a battle. Having to kick steps in the snow is really tiring, and then just randomly falling through to waist deep and getting stuck. Like you would be walking where you would think there's something underneath, but there wasn't, and then the snow just gives way, and then you're stuck. And then every time you get to the top of the pass, you just see another one in front of you. And I finally got around the other side and I saw the lake. It just took my breath away. It was really so amazing. All the fatigue just left my body and then just ran down that hill. Tomorrow is hopefully the last day. There's an option to camp an extra night, but at this point I'm pretty much done. My sock has frozen. It is stiff. Boots have also frozen. Very stiff. Shoelaces frozen. Nothing beats some hot coffee on a freezing morning. To give you an idea about how cold it is, this is a lake from yesterday. It's now frozen. This is the home stretch. To my east you can see the peak of Mount Jianpeliang in the background, and Mount Chenresig has just come into view. So the end point of today is on the other side of that mountain. So, how do I get from here to down there? Well, I made it down finally. Fell over a couple of times and ripped my pants on a rock, but just happy to be at the bottom. This point marks a shorter trek known as the Small Kora. So that just involves going around Mount Chenresig. Can be done in like 12 hours. So you'd come over from this side and then head over that way. I have to finish the trek in about 6 hours, but I'm just going to pop over that saddle there, see if I can get a glimpse of the lakes in the valley. So down in the valley you're surrounded by all three mountains. You've got Jianpeliang here, Gorge, and Chenresig. Should not have come down here. I don't think I have enough hours left in the day to finish the trek. This is Milk Lake. On the other side, Five-Color Lake. And over that hill is my way out. (4,900 meters). So I reached that rock over there before I decided to turn, head back up. Just too much snow. Doesn't seem like there's any safe way to get down. And I've been looking at my topographic maps and the gradient is just too steep. So at this point I'm just gonna call it. It's not worth risking it, trying to get down back onto the path. So if I did make it down, I would rejoin the path somewhere there and then go clockwise around Mount, I can't even remember the name. But yeah, this is as far as I go. I'm just going to turn back, head over into the valley where the rest of the tourists are, and exit the normal way. So I'm pretty disappointed about not being able to finish the Big Kora, not being able to see the northwest side of Mount Chenresig. But earlier today, trying to go down the scree, just kept falling, and the slope here is even steeper than this morning. So if something were to happen to me, no one's going to find me up here for a long time. So I'm not going to take any stupid risks. Probably doesn't even look that good on the other side anyway. Yeah, I mean, at least I got to see the lakes in here. Wouldn't have seen it if I went around the side. But should have just drank more of that Wisdom Lake water. Would have become much wiser. Mount Jianpeliang, Mount Gorge, Mount Chenresig. It's been a fun 4 days trekking around, you guys. Thanks for having me, and I bid you farewell. My pride won't let me take the shuttle bus. So here we are, on a 12-kilometer walk of shame. Got some bad news as well. Lost my sunglasses. Even though I said leave no man behind. Not everyone's gonna make it home. So, finally made it to Yunnan province. So this little village here is Yubeng. It's pretty interesting. Up until last year you could only hike into it. I think it's about 18k or something. But now there's a 2-track, so 4-wheel drives can get in. How we doing, fellas? Still hiking to Glacier Lake. This is usually done as a day hike, but started at 3 p.m, so decided to bring my camping gear and just camp the night out here. Weather's pretty bad though. It's been snowing a lot, but this is nothing I haven't seen before. What about 1 hour to set up camp? Just not sure where to do it. Not exactly flat, but there's no time to keep looking. It's a bit annoying setting up in the snow, but I think it's better than rain, because your stuff doesn't get wet. The snow usually just bounces off. Like it's bouncing off my clothes. Got some ramen noodles tonight. Actually only a 3-hour walk from the village, so nothing too serious. Just before I go to sleep, it was definitely possible to predict that the detour I took at Yading would be covered in snow. So, sun rises in the east. Anywhere that was under direct sunlight, the snow had already melted, and I knew it snowed the night before. Going up the eastern face up to the 5-kilometer pass, I did see some snow that still hadn't melted yet, which should have been a big clue. It was still early-ish in the day. The western face which I was going to descend wouldn't have had enough sunlight to melt any of the snow. And looking at the topographic maps, it was surrounded by mountains on all sides, so it wouldn't have got much sunlight either. So if I paid more attention, would have known, couldn't have gone down anyway. But still new to this, but good to know for next time. This is the 3rd time I've woken up tonight because it's been so cold. It's like minus bloody cold degrees Celsius at the moment. I'm wrapped up in this super mummy mode. Just left a small hole for my nose so I can still breathe. Coming up, this guy told me it would hit minus 10 tonight, but I didn't believe him. At this point, my gear can no longer keep me warm enough to go back to sleep, but still warm enough to stay alive. So I just gotta wait another 1.5 hours until the sun comes up, and all will be good. This was a mistake. I staked this out because I was worried about condensation, but this is where all of the cold wind was getting in from. Beautiful weather today. Another magnificent looking mountain. So it was pretty naive of me to think it wouldn't get cold yesterday, because most of the time I don't even know what I'm doing. If I just prepared a hot water bottle like I usually do, probably would have made it through the whole night. It's a pretty steep climb. Haven't seen any rubbish on the floor, which is a good sign that no one really comes here actually. I'm expecting 3 hours to get up, 2 hours to get down. So I've been going for 1 hour now. Vegetation clears up a lot, so it's quite easy to walk now. It's also not that steep. The forest here is pretty enchanting. I kind of feel like the trees could just start talking to me any moment. You can see all the raindrops falling down from the trees. Feels so magical. You can see mist everywhere. Just such a peaceful place. So I've just emerged from the forest, and this is the view that greets me. It's just stunning. I'm going to try to get up onto the glacier. It doesn't look too steep, so just going to keep walking. So close, yet so far. Just want to get to the top of this hill, but so much snow and vegetation. So either go up this way or go up all the way there and wrap around. Look at that, what a monster. There's one glacier up at the top and a second glacier down here. This looks so crazy. So I'm guessing the ice falls down from the top onto this one. And then from there, the ice falls down this way. You can hear a lot of crashing noises and water on this side. So I can see a stream here. It flows along this, flows down that way with all the rest of the ice. Oh, pretty hard to get up here, but it was worth it. If I fell down, I probably wouldn't be able to get back up. But I'm in a pretty safe spot. So I've kicked off the cornice here, so I know it's stable, just sitting on this rock. So it's taken like 3.5 hours to get up here. This last segment was like 3 times slower than I thought it would be, just because of the snow. At this point I think going down, it'll take 2 hours to rejoin the trail of Glacier Lake, and another 1 hour back down. So probably get back to the village at around 6:30. There's no way I'm going to make any appreciable gain on Sacred Waterfall today. Might leave it for tomorrow, but I was actually going to leave tomorrow, so maybe I'll wake up before sunrise and have a quick look. So over the past couple of weeks I've been getting pretty bad sunburns, even though I have sunscreen on. I just haven't been reapplying it as often as I should. You can see the outline of my face mask and the outline of my sunglasses. The skin's much lighter in that area. My nose is peeling as well. Just before I go, it's time for an echo. Woo! How many times I fall over in the snow getting back to the village? I'm gonna say 3 times. I'm only counting the times that I fell on my ass. So the answer is 2. Well, I've finally done it. Finally started before the sun. This is the Sacred Waterfall. So I imagine that in warmer months the flow will be much stronger. Apparently this will cure all illnesses if you drink it. So I'm just gonna have a sip and hope that my ankles get better. Honestly, this was pretty disappointing. And not because of the waterfall. You can see garbage everywhere. And this last 1.5 k's up is just a paved staircase. But I guess I just had different expectations. It just goes to show, if there's any place you want to go to, there's no point delaying it. A lot can change in a couple of years. So I'm glad I did the glacier yesterday. Got 4-wheel drive tracks going in, got a bunch of tiles. The walking track's being paved as well. This place is being developed for mass tourism. The bins never get emptied, so this is a pretty common sight. How we doing, fellas? Bit of a slow day today. At Tiger Leaping Gorge today. 2 years ago I was in this very area when I was traveling China and I didn't get a chance to do this hike, and it was a big regret of mine. So this was one of the main reasons the second return trip to China was even on the drawing boards. Now that I've done so many other cool hikes, this will have to live up to very big expectations. But even if it doesn't, I'm just happy to be here, tick it off the list for personal reasons. So that's the end of Tiger Leaping Gorge. It's a nice view, but there's only one view. Still good though. clouds there is the summit of Haba Snow Mountain. I've cleaned up this spot for my campsite tonight. About 15 minutes off the trail. This forest is all dead trees, so it took a while to pick a nice spot. I don't want anything overhead falling on me when I'm sleeping. Whoa, smoke. It's actually a pretty bad place for a fire, as the wind just keeps changing directions every 5 seconds. It's not even cold today. I don't really need a fire, but I just wanted to make one because this is the first time I've actually had conditions that have allowed me to do so. The trip's coming to an end, so for my last hike I'm gonna summit a mountain. Supposedly it's a very non-technical climb, probably the easiest grading you could give to a summit. You don't need to have any ropes or anything. I did want to just solo this and do it myself, but I don't have any experience with glacier travel, and even though I'm quite confident I could do it myself based off the stuff I've researched, there is still some bit of risk that I don't really want to take. By chance, on the bus to Haba village, I ended up talking to some Chinese tourists who happened to be going up as well. So currently they're at base camp right now, which is about 30 minutes from here. It's like 8 PM right now. I need to wake up at around 2 AM, pack up all of this stuff and then head over to base camp and then start the summit attempt. Pretty excited. I think I've got this. It looks pretty easy. Well, it turns out navigating the forest at night time is not as easy as I thought it would be. Recap on Haba Snow Mountain. Keep saying snow because in Chinese it's Sichuan, and then just keep trying to say both at the same time. But no one summited on that day. Weather was really, really bad. One of the guides I spoke to said that outside of like freak one-off events, that was pretty much as bad as it gets. So I only have videos up to around 4.6, but even then you can see that conditions are just not great.
黄花园到了，右侧车门打开前，请不用触摸车门，以免。